Hello, everybody, and welcome to a long-awaited episode of the Degenerate Disseminators podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, and we are joined with Daniel today.
Hey guys.
So, a bit of an interesting episode. As you guys know, we haven't, posted anything as of late. In our defense, we did give a fair warning. Our favorite sports were ending, put a lot of futures bets, that kind of thing. Kind of just let them ride. Um, so yeah, Daniel's gonna recap hockey. I guess I'll talk a little about the NBA Finals. And then we're kind of starting something new, little MMA show within our own show, if that makes sense. International Fight Week just happened on Saturday. Great card, so we're gonna kind of go over that. And I think moving forward, since not really many sports are going on till football season starts, I think we are just gonna kind of preview a lot of MMA cards. Obviously, give out some official plays and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of talk about fight cards, especially after they happen, things like that. But before we get into that, Daniel, what do you have to say about the NHL playoffs went? All right, Daniel said 1 second, so I'll take the rock from here. I guess we'll talk about the NBA. Okay. Daniel just up and left. That's crazy. I guess we'll talk about the
This
NBA.
guy walked in my room, fucking leaves the door open. Sorry.
Sick. Should I continue with the NBA?
Yeah.
Not much to say. Thunder won the championship. I'm sure, as we all know. Um, I don't know. I was not really into this playoffs, if I'm being honest. I think the Pacers were kind of like the dark horse, bouncing New York and Cleveland. Really wanted to see them win it all. And Tyrese Halliburton goes down with a crazy injury in the opening minutes of Game 7, and probably is gonna miss a big chunk of next year as well. But we'll see. Um, yeah, I wasn't really too thrilled with how the NBA playoffs went. I'm kind of falling out of love with basketball the more and more I watch. That Game 7, the officiating was ridiculous. Every possession whistle was blown, and I get it. A lot of them are actually fouls by the book, but it's playoff basketball. It's Game 7. I think you can let these boys play a little bit. Um, I'm looking forward to next year, though. We have seen a lot of trades already. Anthony Simons to the Celtics is a big one. That's pretty interesting. Although they are saying they want to flip him, which is a little bit interesting to me. I know his contract is expiring, whatever. Dallas Mavericks, 1.8% chance to win the first pick, and they get it. They get Cooper Flag. Was that rigged? I think so, but I guess we'll never know. But although I am disappointed with how this postseason kind of went, I'm still looking forward to it this upcoming season. I think we're gonna see kind of. I think this is kind of gonna be the dawn of like the next generation of NBA players. Kind of taking over, taking the reins, so to speak. A lot of speculation about what's going on with LeBron. Video kind of resurfaced of him, or not resurfaced. It just came out. He was at dinner with some friends and he was saying Savannah only wants him to play one more year. So this could be the last year we get of LeBron. I know I am very sad. That's actually he's literally been playing as long as I've been alive, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah, pretty.
but I don't know. I find it hard to. I think we'll definitely know before the season tips off because there's no way LeBron's going without like some kind of farewell tour like D Wade did. I find that very hard to believe. But yeah, like I said, all in all, not too crazy about this year's playoffs, but definitely excited for what next season has to bring. And the Miami Heat still haven't made any moves, which is awesome. Love their front office so much. Thank you, Pat Riley. But yeah, Daniel, how did you feel about these NHL playoffs? Although I think I have a
I
pretty good
felt
idea.
I felt fucking amazing about them. All right. Obviously, we've said it many, many times. Jordan and I are both Florida Panthers fans. Them winning back to back made us overjoyed, to say the
It
least.
also made us six
What a good
units.
time. Yes,
But
this is true. This is true. The Panthers winning the cup was one of three futures bets we placed for the NHL, which was Oilers to win the cup, Dallas to win the cup, and the Panthers to win the
the
cup.
fact that all
And
three
I
of
don't
those
know.
teams were in their respective conference finals or the Stanley Cup finals is
Yes, I
actually
was about to
crazy.
say
That
that.
yeah.
So we also had the Hurricanes in there in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think I mentioned them as
Sorry.
one of those teams that what?
Oh, I made a raspberry noise. I don't know if it came through on the mic. It might have
Oh,
Discord might have muted it, but yeah, they yeah.
they shit the bed real hard, but it doesn't matter At least not to me, because at the end of the day, we made our money, and the Panthers made theirs. So great time, great series. The Oilers came through and pushed their way to the finals once again, which honestly not a surprise. When they were matched up with Dallas, I thought, hey, Dallas actually stands a chance this year. Boy, was I fucking wrong. They got destroyed in 5 games, and the Oilers made their way to the Stanley Cup final. Panthers was the same deal. I thought the Hurricanes would have a little bit more of a chance, but they are still really shit when it comes to Eastern Conference finals. They have won one single Eastern Conference final game in the last like 15 years, believe it or not. Fucking insane since their coach was their captain. So, I don't know, overall just a really interesting playoff run from the Panthers. I mean, going to 7 with the Maple Leafs and then winning the whole thing, I'm sure Maple Leafs fans are fucking like throwing themselves off of buildings right now because of that. But yeah, I mean, other than that, draft just happened. The Islanders got the first pick, first round, first pick. Matthew Schaefer is an Islander. Congratulations, buddy. Um, you will never see the playoffs ever again. So, I mean, that's really all I have to say. The NHL playoffs were fucking amazing. The NBA playoffs were kind of shit. Um, Baseball's still going on. UFC is awesome. I don't know, man. I'm gonna swing the rock back to Jordan. We'll
Yeah.
talk about some UFC now.
Before we get into UFC, I am very interested to see what these like big market teams start to do because like Florida just stepped on everybody 2 years in a row, and a lot of these
Oh
teams
yeah,
just have much, especially the Oilers. Like they have Connor McDavid, easily the best player in hockey right now, and then they had the best goal scorer in the league, and Leon Draisaitl, also top three, top five
yeah.
player in the league, and they did worse than they did
Well, the
last
thing
year.
is, the way that the Panthers play is it's not about one single guy. It's not about a couple of players. They have superstars, but they're generally when they're creating offense, it's not the superstars just carrying the puck into the zone and going east west. It's them dumping the puck into the zone and beating the shit out of whoever tries to get it.
No, 100%, I
And
agree.
the thing is that all four of the Panthers lines can do it and can do it perfectly. And the offense that generates is just immeasurable compared to the offense that just one or two guys can generate.
That's what I
And then
mean.
on
I
top
feel
of
like we're
that,
gonna start seeing like these star-studded teams kind of blow up
yeah,
and just get cap space to just get like these hard-nosed guys that can play how the Panthers play, which
pretty much.
I don't think is gonna happen
Like,
right away. I think it's gonna take some time
no,
for these
definitely
teams to
not.
adjust to that style of
Yeah,
play.
it'll
But
take some time, but definitely a lot of team systems are going to end up changing from that kind of like, rely on a superstar like Nathan McKinnon or Mikko Rantanen, and it's going to turn into get as much depth as possible and basically just dump the puck into the zone and beat the shit out of each other. Basically, we're going back to old hockey.
yeah, which is awesome.
These guys who are, yeah, exactly. These guys who are insane, McKinnon, McDavid, um, Rantanen, I don't know, fucking the age of them just basically carrying their teams on their back, I think is going to be over pretty soon.
Yeah,
So very excited to see that. I can't wait till the NHL transitions to more Panthers kind of style.
yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be way more entertaining than it is right now. And if you think hockey's entertaining, then it's a moose for you, pal.
Alrighty, like I kind of like I agree with Daniel. I think the NBA is also in for a change, which is awesome. But enough about the postseasons, guys. We're gonna hop into some UFC action. Like I stated, great card this weekend. We watched every single fight, even the two early prelims that started at 7 Eastern Standard Time.
Those
Um,
fights were fucking good too.
yeah, some good. This card was awesome. Obviously we're gonna highlight more of the important ones, more so as like futures of the division, whatever. But I'm gonna touch up on pretty much everything. So to kick off the night, we had Janata Denise versus Alvin Hines, UFC debutant. Um, I like Alvin Hines. I didn't know anything about him heading into this fight. But this guy's tough. He was bloodied and
Yeah.
battered. at the end of round one, and he 265 or throwing spinning back kicks to close out rounds. Definitely showed some good toughness, and heavyweight right now is
Great
definitely
cardio too. That guy
yeah
can
he
fucking bang for a
yeah
while.
I mean he was definitely getting tired, but like it didn't really
Oh,
deter him at
absolutely.
all.
But
Like he was
for
it didn't he
I don't
didn't
know,
seem
man.
discouraged.
Not at
Um,
all.
but Mr. Denise gets the UD victory, which wasn't really you know wasn't
Not
surprising if
surprised
you
at all.
guys watched the fight, but I hope they keep Alvin Hines around. Heavyweight's kind of thin right now, so I think he's someone good to keep in there. Next up, we had Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. Funny story, guys. I had a $10 bonus bet, and Nico Price was a plus 1,000 going into this fight. I believe. I don't know if he was the biggest underdog in UFC history, but Jacoby Smith was the biggest favorite in UFC history. He was like minus 2,500 come fight time. Absolutely ridiculous. This is also just a good scrap. Both fighters had their moments. Um, the crazy pace in round one, which kind of led to Nico Price's demise. Unfortunately, round two, he
Yeah.
makes a sloppy transition on the ground and just gets puts in a rear naked choke and loses. But with that being said, I do think the win does a lot more for Jacoby Smith. Beats a crafty vet. I don't think Nico Price is really in the place to be fighting up right now. So good for Jacoby. Excited to see him fight again. And that caps off the early prelims. Um, Kicking off the prelims, we had Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshev. I probably butchered that. Not gonna lie, I think we might have missed this one. I do know Terrence McKinney won by Darce choke. So Daniel and I watched the first two fights
We
at
definitely missed.
yeah, we watched these two fights at his house, and we went out somewhere to catch the prelims. And one thing I will give credit for this card, it was moving very quick. Like there was not a lot of filler garbage that we've been getting a lot of. I did see this on like when it happened, but I didn't really know what happened leading up to it. But shout out Terrence McKinney, I guess. I also saw he was kind of like schizoing out on Twitter, saying he should be higher in the rankings. Maybe I don't know.
Up to him, man.
Yeah. Next up we have Viviane Araujo, and then Tracy Cortez
Araujo.
Araujo. My bad. No, she's Brazilian. They say they're Jays.
Oh, true.
and
Interesting. I
and then
thought she was from like
nah. And
somewhere
then
else.
my girlfriend Tracy Cortez.
Out.
Nothing too crazy in this fight. Tracy did look good. Unanimous decision victory. What can you say about like a
Usually always.
Tracy does always look good. You got that right, Daniel. um, yeah, Tracy Cortez gets it done via unanimous decision. Nothing too crazy. She kind of just grappled her in a good position and held her there. Nothing too much to say there. This fight was crazy. I have no idea who these two guys are. I've never heard of them. Hyder Emil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Jose gets the knockout in 26 seconds. I don't know if you remember this. He hit him with that mean knee in the clinch, and the guy just died. Um,
I don't remember this. There were a lot of knockouts that night,
yeah.
but
We were definitely in some crazy conversation during this fight, and it was only 26 seconds long. But shout out Jose. All right, now we get into the meat and potatoes here. The feature prelim fight: Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez.
oh man, what a fight! Shout out
This
RoboCop.
shout out RoboCop indeed, but you got to give it to Hermanson because he was lighting him up for the first four,
Oh
like,
yeah,
literally every second up until that left hook came. Rodriguez was
yeah.
pretty battered, and I was kind of surprised, but nothing too crazy because Jack kind of has this reputation of derailing hype trains. For example, his win over Joe Pyfer. Um, so I thought we could have seen that again. Kind of just technical, get in get out kind of fight. And then RoboCop just unleashes a left hook of pure evil and despair, and then
Yep.
throat chops him on the ground while he's unconscious. That was awesome. Um,
There is no meme. Jack Hermanson died that night.
so this is kind of the one of the first fights. Like I guess we kind of should start looking at where RoboCop goes, because his last fight was against Jared Cannonier. And he had Jared Cannonier in a lot of trouble early in that fight, and then ends up getting knocked out. Um, So yeah, I really don't know who he fights. Let me look at the rankings really quick. I want to say he was ranked. I think he was ranked number 15 in that fight. And then he got knocked out of the rankings due to that loss. Um, I do think he deserves to fight up, especially after like a crazy knockout like that, after getting beat up for the first, 99% of that fight. Um, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of these guys are scheduled. I feel like him versus Paulo Costa would be pretty fire, but Paulo Costa
Ooh.
was just scheduled, and his fight got canceled, which is the seventh fight of his that he's been involved in that's been canceled. So I would hate for that to be scheduled and it just gets canceled. Maybe him versus Marvin Vittori. I believe he's coming off a loss, if I'm not mistaken, so that'd be pretty. I wouldn't mind that one. I think definitely someone in that 10 to 15 range would be nice. Him versus Rainier de Ridder would be fire, but as we know, Rainier de Ridder
Ooh.
is fighting Robert Whittaker
Yeah.
for a number one contender
Also,
fight.
the Ritter is like, I don't know, top candidate for fighting for a belt at some point, I feel
I
like.
think if he does beat Whittaker, I think the argument can definitely be made because Nasruddin Imavov scheduled. I think he's fighting.
Oh yeah,
I think he's
true.
fighting Kyle Barhalo. But he beat Sean Strickland twice. Hamzat's fighting for the belt soon.
Mhm.
He beat Izzy. Whitaker's fighting DeRitter. Yeah. So I think if he does get that win and he doesn't take a lot of damage, no injuries, nothing, I do think Renier DeRitter could be definitely in the title conversation. But as far as for RoboCop, I mean, he's only like 32. He looks a lot older than he actually is.
Yeah,
I
the
do
guy looks
think
like he's fucking 60.
yeah, if he does want to make a title run, I do think he has earned the right to fight up somewhere in that 10 to 15 spot range. But anyways, we get to the main card. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. Boy, did Peyton
What
Talbot
a
look really good.
Oh man, that guy's
Um,
ground game.
I don't
Frank
know.
Ocean
Yeah,
has been helping that guy out with his ground game.
yeah. Pride
And by
Month.
that I mean they've been having sex.
Oh, facts. Pride Month. Peyton Talbot might be the newest mythical
New
fighter.
mystical fighter.
Yeah, he looks great. He did lose his last fight, not by like a landslide. He, just had a difficult time stopping takedowns and just getting out of bottom position. But he looked amazing on the ground, on this fight, and he spent the majority of the fight on the ground, which is surprising. And even in these short stand-up exchanges, he was able to do his thing and get a win. And he was plus money going into this fight, plus 150, which was very surprising to me. Um,
Interesting.
but yeah, I like Peyton Talbot. For some reason, there's like a movement online, like you're a casual if you're a fan of Peyton Talbot, which I don't really get. He's a cool guy, cool style fighter. Glad he got the win. I don't think,
Congratulations.
I don't think he's ready for a ranked opponent, especially such a stacked division like bantamweight. Um, yeah, I really don't know what's next for him. But I definitely do want to see him in there one more time before the year's over, which I definitely think he can do. Yeah, he didn't take a lot of damage in this fight.
Not at all.
Do you think he deserves a ranked opponent, Dan, or do you think he's got to get one more?
I think he could. I mean, like, I think he could go for like anywhere from like 15 to like 11.
Yeah.
Any one of those guys. I don't know exactly who's in those rankings
All right, book
specifically,
it now.
but
Him versus Henry Cejudo. What are we thinking?
I ooh, maybe one more fight in the unranked.
Because
Yeah,
he's number
before
10,
he
so
takes on
yeah.
Cejudo.
Because, yeah.
Well, okay, that's out of what I said, but
Yeah, he's right
fair
there. It's
enough.
right
I
there.
I think one more unranked fight for Peyton Talbot, and then if he wins, we give him the right to move on to the ranks.
Yeah, and one thing I
Maybe he
like,
gets to fight against Henry Cejudo. That would be fucking hilarious. I hope he beats the shit out of
that'd
Cejudo.
be awesome. But I do like Peyton Talbot because he doesn't really talk crazy, but like he just has such a good fan base because he's like a cool fight. Like his fighting style's
He's
awesome
just a
and he's
cool
a good
guy,
fighter.
you
Yeah.
know.
So I definitely do
Follow him
want
on
to.
Instagram. It's very interesting.
Yeah. All right. Next card, or sorry, next fight on the card. Um, hot take. I was very disappointed in this fight. Benil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Um,
Mm, I know why you're
Moicano.
disappointed.
uh, We all wanted Moicano to win. We met the guy.
Everybody
We're
did,
best
man.
friends.
Financially motivated, Money Moicano lost for the first time in UFC history.
I know, but
That's fucked up. Neil
Moicano.
Dariush.
Moicano catches him with the meanest 1-2 combo of all time. It looks like Dariush died. Uh, I think there's only like 15 seconds left in the round, so he just barely survives. But he recovered
Yeah.
well. Definitely didn't want to stand on the feet with him anymore, and I was surprised at Moicano's inability to kind of shake off these takedown attempts, and he just kept getting tied up. Um, yeah.
I thought Moicano was more wrestle heavy, but I guess not. He
I,
just got fucked on the ground, basically.
he just I don't know. It looked like he gassed out and kind of just like was stumped. But yeah, that whole thing was very interesting to me. Um, yeah, I really don't know what's next for either fighter. Moicano came actually was the lower ranked fighter coming in at 11th, and Dariush is at 9. Do I think Dariush is gonna go up in the rankings? Probably not, because I think there is a really big agenda push for Paddy Pimblett right now, who is at one spot above him at number 8. I really don't think they're gonna
Ooh.
put him over Paddy. And all honesty, I do think Paddy's win over Michael Chandler was more impressive.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a fight, man.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little more about
Like,
Paddy Pimblett later.
it made me like Pimblett
Yeah.
again.
Moicano, I do think I mean, he fought up and lost. Does Michael Chandler take his spot? Do they swap places? I don't know. Um, I wouldn't. I guess for Dari, like I really don't, because we know that Dariush isn't championship caliber. I think we could determine
Definitely
that
not.
from this fight. It wasn't a pretty win. You know, he got knocked out by Arman Sarukian bad, caught a mean knee, and then right after that, he got knocked out by Charles Oliveira from a head kick. Um, so I don't know how much he has left in the tank, especially with his chin, because he, like I did mention, he did get dropped bad in that fight. Um, I don't know. A lot of the guys above him are already booked or like in the works of getting booked. And it's been a while since we've seen Dariush, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him for another year again. And we know
Yeah.
Moicano is financially motivated, so I'm sure we'll see him sometime this year
Oh,
before the
he's
year
gonna
ends.
step up on short notice for
Yeah,
that cash.
yeah, or fight. I don't know. Has he fought Bobby Green yet? Maybe he'll fight Bobby Green. Give me Moicano
Honestly, that would
versus
be a
Bobby
fun
Green.
fight.
Have they
That'd be
fought?
a really fun
Let me
fight.
see
I
this.
think Moicano would knock him the fuck out, though, to be honest with
Actually,
you.
don't have to top of my head if they fought, but I wouldn't mind that. Although Bobby Green is no longer ranked, but that shouldn't be a surprise to
Oh,
anyone.
that would be crazy. Yeah, no, it's not news.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Alrighty. Moving on. My personal pick for fight of the night. It should be everyone's pick for fight of the night. Brandon Royval
Says
versus Joshua Van.
just straight hands.
Yeah. Before the fight itself, shout out Joshua Van. Won 3 weeks ago. At on the Marab versus Sean O'Malley 2 card.
Mm.
Not got a knockout, which is we don't see too much in flyweight. 3 weeks later, comes in ranked number 11, I believe, fighting the number one contender, the longtime number one contender in Brandon Royval. Let me see. Yes, no, ranked number 12 actually, and they just go to war for 15 minutes. The volume of that fight was like I've never seen that before. It was crazy. He clearly won round one. It seemed like Royval kind of picked it up in round two. I think he landed like 70 plus
Yeah.
significant strikes in round two,
Yeah.
and I feel like for a lot of other fighters in other weight classes, if they were put in the same scenario, I feel like they kind of would have crumbled there. But Van kind of just bit down on the mouthpiece and just got back to work in round three. And it was a super close round. And then Joshua Van gets a,
Still
a mean knockdown and with 10 seconds left and secures the fight.
insanity.
And they bring him into the cage, and it looks like he's fighting Pantoja next. I do know that Dana White. Yeah, Dana White did say that this was, like whoever won this fight was fighting the winner of Pantoja versus Kai.
Real.
So,
Speaking of,
yeah, we'll get to that fight in a second. Fucking Kai Kara France. But yeah, super happy for Van. Super likable guy. I do kind of have to feel for Rival though, because like I said, he has held on to that number one contender spot for quite some time. Um, he's been on a nice little win streak, and he's won fights that he's been like heavily underdogged in, and Pantoja just did him bad enough in their first fight. They didn't really want to give him a chance, and he had the chance to get back to it. Guy comes in on 3 weeks' notice and takes it away from him. But
yeah,
happy for Van,
that's the
definitely.
UFC, man. That's
Yeah,
how it
but
goes.
undoubtedly the fight of the night for sure.
Oh yeah, they put on a fucking show.
For real,
Happy for both of them.
exactly. Keeping things in flyweight, guys, the co-main event: Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara France.
Very anticlimactic, I gotta say.
Kai Kara France looked like a lost little puppy in that octagon. And I'm not trying to say that to disrespect Pantoja in any way. He is super good, very underrated. Still super low on the UFC pound for pound rankings, which I find ridiculous. And men's
Doesn't he
pound for
have like The same amount of wins as Demetrius
He
Johnson
has the
at this
most
point.
flyweight wins, submissions, and knockouts in flyweight history. And
Guys, we might have to have an uncomfortable conversation real soon.
yeah, we might have to. But what's even crazier is that he's number 9 in the men's pound for pound. Alex Pereira is ahead of him, and he isn't even a champion
He
anymore.
was
Love Pereira, great fighter.
a great guy,
But
you know.
the guy, like we just said, most wins in flyweight history. I think he's won 8 in a row. That was his 4th title defense. And how is he not in the top 5? That makes no sense. How is Jack Della Maddalena higher pound for pound over Alexandre Pantoja?
This just goes to show the pound for pound rankings mean fucking jack shit.
I honestly think they just
Whoever's
do
making
favor
those
the
are
bigger
fucking weird.
guys. I think this has always been a problem because I don't even think Demetrius Johnson was ever number 1 pound for pound on this list. But
Bro. Yeah, I guess
I
that would
hope
make sense.
I really hope. Well, we're recording this on Sunday night, and usually the rankings get updated Monday evening. So I'm hoping we see him in the top 5 minimum.
That'd
But
be nice.
yeah, Pantoja looked good on all aspects, winning the exchanges on the feet, mixing in his wrestling, and he had Kai Kara on the back foot literally the whole entire fight, and backed him down, took him down, and got an easy rear naked choke. His second fight he's won in a row actually by rear naked choke, which is interesting to see. Um, I don't. Well, I was gonna say I don't really know what's next for him, but we do have we do have Joshua Van. Um, who do you think wins that matchup, Daniel?
I mean, I have to be honest with you, Pantoja. Well, I think Van could he could do some shit.
I do.
I don't know much about Van. Um I've only seen him fight once at this point. I didn't see his fight during the O'Malley card. But um I don't know if he's got good wrestling, if Van has like decent wrestling, which I have no idea if he does. I think he stands a chance, but I don't think with striking alone he's going to take Pantoja down. It's really hard to get a knockout in this division.
Yeah.
If it was any other division, I'd say Pantoja stands a good chance of getting knocked out just because of the sheer volume that Van throws. But Pantoja, I think, stands a good chance both on the feet and on the ground. Probably a better chance on the ground, I'd have to say. But we'll see. Probably give it a few months before these guys fight, anyways.
Yeah.
Possibly closer to a year. So they'll have a lot of time to prepare for each other. But personally, I'm gonna have to go with Pantoja just as an early recommendation here, an early pick here.
Yeah, I think if they scheduled this like Royval versus Van maybe on a fight night for 5 rounds and we could see how he looked in a 5 round fight, I think I can make a better guess. But
Yeah, me
yeah,
too. I don't know about his cardio.
yeah, in a
He didn't
fight.
look gassed
Oh
though
no, not at
after
all.
throwing
But he
3
also didn't take
rounds.
much damage. Like I know he ate a lot of shots, but like it looked like his punches were, you know,
Doing a lot
Royval
more,
was
yeah, for
wearing
sure.
them a lot more than he was wearing Royval's punches. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. I do have to give the edge to Pantoja, but would I be surprised if
I think
Van pulls
Van
it
could do
off?
some serious I think he could do more than Kai Kara France did,
Yeah, because he
to
was
be
standing in the
honest.
pocket and he was not afraid to do so whatsoever. Kai, uh, yeah, not so much.
I seem to be afraid, very afraid.
But yeah, very excited to see that. I hope we get this maybe in December. That'd be pretty cool. Because Pantoja also
Yeah.
didn't really take too much damage.
Not a whole lot of damage,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, guys, that brings us to the main event: Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. I want to go on record, guys. I like both fighters. Okay, I posted something on my Instagram story, and I was like, hey Ilya, can you please stop knocking out my favorite fighters? And everyone was telling me to like read it and weep and like stop crying about it, and I was like, I was gonna be sad regardless of who lost, but like I don't know. Yes, going into this fight, am I surprised? I guess I'll ask you the question, Daniel. Are you surprised by how this fight ended?
Not at all.
Y-
I was telling anyone who asked me, I was telling them the same thing that if Oliveira gets caught once, he's literally dead. Like I'm
Yeah.
talking like Charles Oliveira found dead in Las Vegas. Like it was bad. It would be terrible, and everybody would be sad. I saw this coming from a mile away.
Yeah. There's a couple ways you can look at this fight. I do think I don't know. I feel like the game plan for Oliveira should have been different. Because the second the fight started, I was like, why is he so close to him? But at the
Yeah,
same
I
time,
everybody was
yeah.
like, why?
But at the
What's
same
going
time,
on?
that's just how Charles Oliveira has been fighting, literally with everyone he's fought. So I can't say that I'm surprised, but I'm also surprised, like, you know what this guy's capable of. Like you would think maybe this is the one time we try to switch it up, because clearly keeping it the
Use your
same.
reach. You have 5-inch reach advantage on this guy, and you're standing in the fucking pocket with
Yeah.
him.
And in all honesty, this fight could have been over way sooner than 2.5 minutes. There was the opening exchange. Ilya threw a mean 1-2, and the right hand just barely missed. If that landed, this fight could have been over in 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it looked like we almost had a saving grace with that little clinch tie up. But Charles got busted up really bad somehow. I still don't even know what happened. Eyebrow slit wide open. Goes for a heel hook. But a lot of people,
Wasn't
yeah, a lot of people really ignore the fact that Ilya is an actual assassin when it comes to jujitsu. Um, I was excited for a second that I went to the ground just, so Charles could stay safe down there. But yeah, Ilya didn't really entertain that very long and got his leg right out. They get up and Ilya quite literally said, "I'm going to touch his chin and it's gonna explode," and that is exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Literally one right hook goes down. He ate another left hook on the way down, and then a couple super necessary punches on the ground.
Yeah,
Um,
extremely necessary. I mean, Oliveira had so like he was about to get up. I could see it.
yeah, he was really digging deep for that one. But like I said, I am very sad Charles Oliveira lost. This is a fighter I've watched. He debuted when I was 8 years old. I literally watched his debut fight. Big fan of the guy. Truly a class act of the sport. So I really hate to see him go down, but you really can't give enough credit to Ilia Topuria and what he's done in the last couple of years in the sport. He was literally out at dinner the night before the fight celebrating. He was standing on the table waving around his little the shit they wrapped the silverware shit in, and they were chanting for him like he already won the fight. I think he's gonna be a really hard guy to beat. Whoever's fighting him, as long as he stays that confident. But yeah, I'm just glad they filled the vacant title as fast as they did.
Yeah,
Um,
would have been nice if they did the same with heavyweight, like 7 or 8 months ago when John Jones decided to stop fighting. But that's enough of that.
that was actually 2 years since his last fight, but
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad. My bad.
yeah, yeah. That's old news.
We don't have to
Unfortunately,
talk
the
about
MMA
it.
world moves very fast. We won't bore you with
Shout out to
that
Tom
information.
Aspinall though. Love that guy. I'm
Yeah,
glad he's the champion now.
yeah. I hope
Um,
he gets booked real soon. I want to see him fight. But speaking of
still
bookings, I kind of wanted to ask you, Daniel. Title. We have a lightweight champion. He's a beast. What do you think is next for Ilia Topuria?
um, I hate to say this because I don't like the guy, but give him Arman Sarukian.
Yeah.
I think give him that because he needs to defend this belt. It's not like the other belt where he, knocks out Volk and then knocks out Max Holloway and he's done with the division. Because obviously those two guys held up the division for a lot of years. But he needs to actually fight in this division before he can say, "Hey, fuck it, I'm going up and I'm gonna go fight like Bilal or JDM or Makachev now that he's in 170." So he needs to defend that belt a couple times at least against some of the better fighters. I think a fight with Sarukian is in order. Um, a fight with Paddy Pimblett. I
I was
think
that
they
was
were
going to be my
talking shit
follow
to
up
each other the
question.
other night.
Do you think would I don't know how to want to
No,
would you be surprised if Patty skips the line?
I wouldn't because he's kind of at this point a fan favorite, especially after beating up on Michael Chandler.
Mm.
But I don't think he should. I mean,
From
I
a
don't know, man. At least give Poirier another title shot or something, man.
so if I'm a UFC fighter in the lightweight roster, I say no. But from a business
Yeah,
perspective, it makes
I can
100%
see.
sense. If
Oh,
the
absolutely.
same
It's
same
gonna bring in so
venue,
much
same
fucking
date,
cash, dude.
if you did it between Arman or Patty, Patty's gonna outsell Arman by 10
Oh my
times.
god. Nobody fucking likes Arman Sarukian. That guy is such a loser. He's not entertaining at all. Um, he sucks at fighting. I mean, he doesn't suck at fighting. He's the number one contender. Like, he just sucks to watch. I remember watching him versus Oliveira, and it was like it sucked. That's the last time he fought, and
That's
then he was
also
supposed
another
to fight.
interesting like what if because Charles Oliveira had that guillotine locked up, and if Arman Sarukian didn't literally take his shorts off, take it out of that, the lightweight division, who knows what it would look like right now.
I mean, I think Oliveira would have gotten another title shot and probably just lost again, to be completely honest with you, against
Yeah,
Makhachev.
I
I
know
don't think he was beating
that whole little
like
arc was odd
yeah.
because it was gonna be Saruki, and then he pulls out the day before the fight, and then we get
And then there's
Moicano fighting for the
Moicano who
belt.
comes in
Dies.
like dude, Moicano of all people gets
Yeah,
submitted in the second round.
that was
I
the
think
first
no, it
round.
was the first one.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
Um,
Yeah, whatever,
what
dude.
about Justin
But yeah.
Gaethje? What if he skipped?
Actually, I would like to see that. I think that would be a good fight. I don't know. I just think Justin Gaethje, it's the same story with Oliveira.
Yeah, I don't.
I think his shit explodes at the first touch.
You can't. Yeah, but he's also just like another one of those brawler type fighters, and you can't do that against Ilya. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. That's the thing, is that like against Ilya, the best chance most people have is reach and grappling, right? You either have to be a better grappler than him, which is really fucking hard because that guy's really good at grappling,
Yeah.
or you have to have longer arms than him so that he can't touch you, and then pray that he doesn't touch you. So those are my
Yeah.
keys to victory for anyone trying to fight him. And Oliveira had both of these things, and he did not use them.
He didn't
So
make it
he
halfway
lost.
through the round.
No, he got touched
Yeah.
like real bad.
All right.
So
I have another what if for you before we wrap things up here. So as you know, Dustin Poirier has his farewell fight against Max Holloway. This is number 4 versus number 5. If either of
yeah,
those two fighters win in impressive fashion, could you see, like, let's say Dustin wins by knockout? Do you think they give him one last shot, or do you think he's had too many?
I think they do. Like I don't know, man. Well, it's supposed to be a farewell fight, but if it goes like first round knockout for Poirier and he's like, fuck, I want to fight again, I don't see any reason why Dana wouldn't give him a title shot against Ilya Topuria.
That's also another.
Will he win?
I feel like
Honestly, I think Poirier has a good chance at winning that fight, to be honest with you.
he
He's
does too.
bigger than Topuria. He's
'Cause
got a longer
he's a
reach.
big lightweight. He's a
Yeah.
really big lightweight.
And he's got, I think, a lot more experience than Topuria in the
Yeah.
fight game. And his chin is not like that busted up. I mean, he's been knocked out before,
Yeah, but like in his
but it's
last
not like
with
much.
the fight with Islam, like Islam was hitting him with some heavy shit, and
Exactly, exactly. It took a submission
yeah.
to, get Dustin out of there, and he's getting punched, man, like in the
But
face.
with that being said, though, we've said the same thing about so many other fighters that have fought Ilya, and they just meet the same fate. So
I mean, yeah, it's true. And it's the thing is he has so much power. But honestly, if there's one guy that I think can do it, well, at least one of like the older generation fighters, at least, I think it's Poirier.
yeah, I
Um,
wouldn't mind seeing him get another shot, but like I don't know. Because it's not the first. Like this is supposed to be like his official farewell, but like he said he's done a couple times already, and he's fought more.
yeah,
Same thing
it's
with
like
Justin
LeBron.
Gaethje. He kind of came out flat out and was like, if I'm not fighting for a world title, like getting closer to a world title, I'm done. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I like that lightweight's this active right now, but it's also kind of a weird gray area because I feel like a lot of these older guys' careers are kind of coming to an end, unfortunately. So it is very interesting to see, but I definitely do think Ilya is gonna be here to stay for a little bit, and
oh for sure.
definitely gonna get multiple defenses if I had to guess. Do you think Ilya is gonna open up as the number one pound for pound pound for pound fighter in the world come tomorrow?
No, but I think he'll be like number two, because
I think
who is it right now? Makachev?
so it's Makachev, Marab, Ilya, and then Dricus, and then Magomed. That's the top five.
Hmm. I mean,
How's
I
Uncle
can
Alive in
see
the
it.
top five? I couldn't tell you. But,
Yeah, I mean, I can see it happen. But I think Makachev will eventually reclaim that if well,
yeah,
obviously he's moving
cause
up,
yeah,
but
I
if
think
he wins one fight, I think he just gets back to number one pound for pound if Ilya takes it from him
I think
tomorrow.
Ilya definitely goes over Marab for sure. Maybe
Oh,
Seth
for sure,
Islam,
absolutely.
but I wouldn't be surprised honestly. His last three fights have been all legends of the sport. And I think his win over Volkanovski is actually aged very well considering he won the title back against Diego Lopez.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be
Mhm.
taken into consideration for sure. But yeah, I
Yeah, because
like
Volk is still good. That's it. Like bottom line, Volk is still a fucking great fighter.
yeah. But we don't have any fights this upcoming weekend. Because it's the 4th. We have a fight night. It's I know Derek Lewis is fighting something Teixeira. Um,
Yeah.
not not the best card if I'm being honest, but like I said, we are gonna start kind of previewing everything. We do have a Wonder Boy fight, but we're not gonna spoil it. We'll
Yeah.
definitely have an episode out the day before. But yeah, overall it was a great card. It was fun to recap, as it was very fun to watch. It was very fun to remember the card. But I'm all done. I'm all done yapping, Dan. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off for the night?
Um, Sam Bennett got extended 8 years.
You did get it
That's
extended eight
all.
years. Um,
Yes,
Dano's getting signed next week, according to my insiders,
I
actually.
am.
But
Paul Maurice actually today. He said, "Dan, quit your fucking job. You are a Florida Panther."
let's get.
And I was like, "No way."
All right, well, we're gonna sign off for the night. If you guys, I think this is gonna be like I'm gonna make this like its own separate playlist, like an MMA like show, I guess. Um, Let me know if you guys fuck with this. We didn't give out any picks or anything like that. Not really. We didn't really talk about gambling. Kind of just recaps. If we do end up talking about the Derek Lewis card, I'm sure we'll give out some official plays on there. As there's something else going on for us right now. Probably when like football and basketball and hockey come back, I'm gonna have to figure that out if I'm gonna give the picks on those episodes and then just kind of preview the fight cards. We'll play it by ear, but let me know if you guys like this episode, and if you guys have any questions about any matchmaking, things like that, anything UFC related, leave them down below so we can answer it in the next episode. It's a lot easier to answer questions. When we do our daily sports bets. Kind of hard to get back to you in time because we do upload those episodes the day of the events, so a little tricky. This is a lot easier to actually have conversations with you guys. But we're gonna get on out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one.